ladies and gentlemen, Jesse Rivera. Good evening, Sacramento! Woo! Calm the fuck down. I haven't even said anything yet. Wish I had that support when I was growing up. Wouldn't be a comic. How you guys doing? You guys good? You having a good time? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You guys drinking? You guys drinking? Boozing? Boozing? Buzzing? Good? Good. Hey, listen. If you get to that point where you're like, should I have one more? Should I not have one more? If you're thinking you shouldn't have one more, don't have one more. What you should do is tip your bar and waitstaff with that extra, right? Because listen, I know about people who have had one too many because I drive Lyft part-time. Because this is America, we all need 3 jobs. Because apparently I do gotta pay back those student loans. What the fuck did I even vote for? But right? I drive Lyft part time. I drive mostly at night and on the weekends. But I don't like to drive after midnight because after midnight on the weekends are people that don't make good decisions. Those are people that make bad decisions. I like driving before midnight. Those are people making good decisions. They say, let's go home. Let's not have that last drink. But sometimes I start chasing the money. I want that extra $8. You know? Because I want a cup of coffee in the morning. And the other night I was driving Lyft, and it was right about that time where I was like, should I stop driving? Should I not stop driving? The bad decision people are about to start coming out. And I got this ride that was going from a bar in a really nice part of town to an apartment complex in an even nicer part of town. It was only a 7-minute ride, and it paid $12. And I was like, I'm going to take it, right? Because what could go wrong? They're going from a nice part of town to a nicer part of... Look, I'll just say it. They were white people, okay? I was like, these are good people. So I pull up to the bar, and right away I'm fucking nervous because the husband is holding his phone, and he's pacing back and forth, just looking for the lift, just looking for the lift. The wife, I'm immediately terrified because the wife is leaning up against the wall, her arms just like this. Right? Listen, guys, I'm a 52-year-old Latino, Mexican-American Chicano, right? In my lifetime, I've been shot at by gangbangers. I've been chased by cops. I was once even questioned by ICE. But nothing is scarier than a white woman looking at me with her arms crossed, right? Uncross your arms, please. And so they get in the car. The husband sits passenger seat, back seat, passenger side. The wife sits right behind me, back seat. And I'm nervous because getting to the car, the husband got in the car right away. It took the wife about 2 minutes. Feeling her way, like she had like an invisible walker. She made it, right? She gets in and I'm like, maybe she's not drunk. I'm like, no, I can smell the booze, right? We pull away and she immediately does this move where she cracks the window a little bit to let the fresh air hit. Because we all know that sobers you up, right? Listen, what happened in the next 5 minutes might all be my fault. Because I'm not a super aggressive driver. I got stuck in a roundabout. Listen, I grew up in a poor neighborhood. We didn't have roundabouts. We just let people get run over. But like I said, this was a white neighborhood, so they don't like their kids getting run over. And after I straightened out from the roundabout, I saw her, like I had adjusted my side view mirror so I could see what was going on, right? So I could see her. I saw her do this. And I was like, I looked at the clock. I had 5 minutes. I was like, okay, I hit the gas a little bit. Accelerated, right? And I'm like, okay, we're going to do this. I think we're going to do this. She looks stable. She looks stable, right? All of a sudden, from the back seat, I heard, and I thought, oh, shit. I put the gas a little bit more, and I heard a second one. And I was like, oh, fuck, this isn't good, right? I looked, we're at 3 minutes. We're close, right? We're close. And we're about 2 minutes away, and I heard one last. And I looked, and in my side mirror, I saw her do this. And start to push it back down, because that works, right? And we're about 2 minutes away from the house, and I hear the husband say, honey, are you sure we're so close? And I think, oh, fuck, right? And so I'm like, hey, what's going on back there? And she says, pull over, please, pull over right away. And I'm like, and you guys ever have one of those moments that happens in like a split second, but it feels like 30 seconds? From the back seat, I heard the sound I didn't want to hear, right? I'm not going to make the sound because we all know what that sound sounds like, right? But I was ready for it to come in two parts. Like I was ready for the release and the drop. All I heard was the release, and I was ready for the drop. Like I was even like ready for it to hit like the back of my ear, maybe, right? Or like maybe the side of my elbow, right? I thought I was ready for it, but I didn't hear it. And then all of a sudden, I saw the husband jump from his side over her, and he was lowering her window. And as I was pulling up to a stop at the curb, the lady was full torso out the window, and I saw her go like this. Like she was releasing pigeons at a wedding. We pull over, we all get out of the car. I look at him, he looks at her, she looks at me, we look at the car, and she says, that last drink was a bad decision. So don't have that last drink, you guys. Don't have that last drink. Who doesn't drink in here? Where's my weed smokers at? Where's my weed smokers at? Those are my people. Yeah. Those are my people. Hey, do you guys remember the back, like currently we're in season 4 or 5 of the pandemic? I don't know. It's switched to Tubi. Nobody's watching now. But do you guys remember back season 1 of the pandemic, right? Season 1 of the back when we all still kind of liked each other, you know? Everybody was making bread. Do you guys remember there was a story on the news that broke that suggested that people who smoked large amounts of marijuana were less likely to catch COVID? Do you guys remember when that story broke? Yeah. These are all the pot smokers that say yeah. Right? Well, that story was getting a lot of traction, so they did a study. One of the hospitals here locally did a study, and they put out a study, and they wanted people to come and get tested, right? 15,000 stoners signed up for the study. The day of the study, 178 actually showed up. The rest of them couldn't find their keys. And they did a study and they realized it was true. It was absolutely true, you guys. People who smoked large amounts of marijuana were not catching COVID. They weren't catching the flu. They weren't catching sexually transmitted diseases, nothing. Because they never left the fucking house. They had been sheltering in place since Amazon Prime, DoorDash. 32% of them didn't even know there was a pandemic. They were just like, wow, there was no traffic getting here. Weed's crazy, man. I've been smoking weed 30 years, man. And I remember when I first started smoking weed, it was just like what you got. Like whatever your dealer had that day, you're like, all right, I'll take it, you know? And now there's like sativas, indicas, hybrids, right? I'm an indica man myself, right? I'm an indica man myself. I have this friend named Jillian, and Jillian loves sativa. Now, for those of you that don't know, right, you're lame. No, I'm just kidding. For those of you who don't know, listen, the indica is the stuff that puts you in the couch, right? Sativa is like the more creative folks, like the artists, or like the stay-at-home moms, or like the teachers, like people in charge of kids. They should be smoking sativa, right? My friend Jillian is none of those, but she loves sativa. She's an artist. And I said, Jillian, why do you love sativa so much more than indica? And she goes, oh, Jesse. I wake up on a Saturday morning, I smoke some sativa, I'll write in my journal 15 pages, just write. I'm like, wow. And she's like, I'll smoke a little bit more. I'll clean the fuck out of my house. I'll just clean it top to bottom. No dust anywhere. I'm like, oh, shit. She's like, I smoke a little bit more. I'll go out in the garden. I'll do some gardening. Is this gardening? I don't even fucking know. I'll do some gardening. And I'm like, fuck. She's like, yeah. And I'm like, Jillian, have you ever heard of coke? You should be doing coke. Hey, man, I want to thank you guys for coming out tonight. Who had to get a babysitter to come out tonight? Who had to get babysitters? Clap it up, you had to get a babysitter, right? Who needs to go home right after the show to check on their dogs, right? Who's got to go, right? All right, dog owners, clap it. Clap it up, dog owners, clap. Yeah. I'm a dog owner. Does anybody want to guess what type of dog I have? Just shout it out. Who the fuck said Chihuahua? You racist motherfucker. I have 2 Chihuahuas, actually. I have 2 Chihuahuas. And it's crazy because I hated Chihuahuas growing up myself. Everybody hates Chihuahuas. I hated Chihuahuas. My grandparents had Chihuahuas. And every time they'd be like, they'd be like, oh, I fucking hated them, man. But my grandparents, right? Who here was lucky enough to grow up with a grandparent in your life? Just clap if you were lucky enough to grow up with a grandparent in your life, right? Who here, their grandparents were hella old school grandparents? And wait, by old school, I mean racist as fuck. Yeah. Speaking of old school racist as fuck, I'm not from Sacramento. I started doing comedy in Sacramento. I love Sacramento. But I grew up in a town about 300 miles south of here, a town called Bakersfield, California. Who's heard of it? Listen. If you haven't heard of Bakersfield, tonight when you go home, I want you to Google meth. And you'll see what Bakersfield is all about. There was so much meth in Bakersfield, even the fat people did meth, right? I know because I was one of them. Like, I was addicted to meth and I was overweight and nobody believed me. I used to, like, you guys ever, like buy drugs from somebody and you want to brag that they have the best drugs, right? My meth dealer was like, stop telling people you buy from me. They think my shit is whack. Look at you. You give meth a bad name. And I did so much meth, I had to stage my own intervention. Like, all my friends got together one day and I sat them down and I was like, guys, I have a meth problem. And they were on math? And I was like, no, meth. I have a meth problem. And they're like, you're not doing any? And I'm like, I'm doing too much. And they're like, did your dealer cut it with sugar? Are you putting it on your Cocoa Puffs? What? Are you eating it? What? But guys, luckily, like through the help of like friends and families, the people in the community, I got clean. And since 2005, I have not done any meth. I'm clean. Yeah. I wish I still could do it, so sometimes, you know? But it's just not healthy. I realized about 5 or 6 years ago that I was getting old because, real quick, who in here is like under 35? Who's under 35? Just clap it if you're under 35. All right, people who are under 35, listen. I want you guys to enjoy every fart, every shit, every piss, every orgasm, everything that you think you have control of coming out of your body, enjoy it. Because there's going to come a day when you're going to be sitting there like, I haven't shit in 3 days. Yeah, honey, what's today? It's Wednesday. I haven't shit in 4 days. Enjoy all the food too, especially ice cream and milk. It's going to betray you one day. Like right now you think, wow, I fart really bad after ice cream. That's the first warning. Ice cream is going to turn on you one day, and I don't know when, but I promise you're going to be stuck on the freeway 20 minutes from home, and the ice cream will betray you. But I knew my health was taking a turn for the worse, or like I had to do something. About 5 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, I was out front with the neighbor kids. We were shooting baskets, and I rolled my ankle, right? And if you guys ever watched a little kid fall, like they run, fall, roll, get back up, one motion. Not so much when you're my age. So I went to go see my doctor, and I was like, Doc, I twisted my ankle. I don't think it's ever going to heal. my doctor was like, of course it's going to heal. I was like, Doc, I rolled it really bad. It hurts. My doctor looked up from the paperwork. My doctor was like, look, it's going to heal. Just when you walk, try not to put any of your... No, it's not going to heal. What the fuck are you doing playing basketball, Jesse? You need to be playing bingo, bunko, Pokemon Go. That's what you play now. No more basketball. So me and my doctor, we had a heart-to-heart talk about my weight, right? And she said, Jesse, why don't you go see about the gastric sleeve surgery? And I was like, oh. So she set up the appointment for me, and I went to the orientation. I'm not going to lie to you guys, I was nervous. I was scared. I was fucking terrified because there was 8 of us on that elevator going up to the 2nd floor. I looked around, I was like, some of you younger kids should really take the stairs. I have a bad ankle. And we get in the room, and have you guys ever been in a room? Have you guys ever been in a room that's so quiet you could hear a pin drop? This room was just like that, except you couldn't hear a pin drop in this room. In this room, all you could hear was... Have you ever heard furniture creaking and nobody's moving? So I did the orientation, and they make you take classes, and they make you lose weight. September 2022, I had the surgery, you guys, and from that day that I fell up to this morning, I've lost 200 pounds, you guys, 200 pounds. It's fucking crazy. Has anybody here ever lost like 100 pounds? More than 100 pounds? Clap if you have. Yes, give it up for these people. So these people can testify with me. Listen, as a man, as a male, you lose 60 pounds. This is how it happened for me. I lost 60 pounds. I found motivation. I was motivated to do it. I was motivated to keep going. At 80 pounds, I found some self-confidence. I started buying new clothes. I was looking sharp. At 110 pounds, I found my dick. I was like, where you been? It's like, I've been here. So I started dating a lot, right? I was dating a lot. And like at first I was only dating nurses because like I wanted to be with somebody who could see like the early warning signs of a heart attack, you know? But then like that wasn't going good. So then I'm 52, I started dating younger girls, right? And it wasn't going good. So I was like, you know what? Let me get on the Tinder app, right? So I started texting with this girl I met on Tinder. We're texting and we're going back and forth on text. We finally get together for dinner, right? We're at dinner, we're having a good conversation, and during dinner she gets up to go to the bathroom. Our food comes out, and I'm like, let me text her, let her know the food's here. She had left her phone on the table. My name pops up. It says Jesse Mexican Tinder, but then there's an asterisk. I'm like, what the fuck's the asterisk for, right? Is it because I'm Mexican? She's got questions, right? Is he circumcised? Like, what's she wondering, right? And I'm thinking way too much. And then right after that, another text pops up, and it says, like, Brian, plenty of fish, Caucasian, no asterisk. I'm like, oh, it's definitely because I'm Mexican, right? And then another message popped up. It said, Ricardo, okay, Cupid, Mexican, no asterisk. I'm like, oh, it's fucking definitely me, right? And then she started coming back to the table, so I looked away. But really quick, I noticed that her phone was at 8% battery life. That's a red flag, you guys. What kind of monster goes out with 8% battery life, right? As she was walking back, I was like, this isn't going to work. I'm just going to pay for dinner. We're going to wrap it up, blah, 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 right? 30 minutes later, we're driving back to my house. And we start making out, starts getting hot and heavy. And top comes off, we're going at it, right? And she had huge boobs, right? Huge, giant, right? She did the thing to me where like she smashed my face in her boobs and just started going like that, right? And I was like, yeah. And she was like, oh, he likes it. She went like that. She like elbowed me. I was like, oh, hell yeah. It was great, right? And she's like, you want to take it to the bedroom? I was like, fuck yeah, I want to take it to the bedroom. Right, so she excused herself, she goes to the bedroom, she's like, grab my phone and meet me in your bedroom. I'm like, okay, so I grab her phone, I meet her in the bedroom. I glance down, she's now at 1% battery life. I'm like, what the fuck? It was a half-hour drive from the restaurant to my house. This girl's a monster. I can't raise a family with her. 15 minutes later, we're doing it. After sex, we're having like that heart-to-heart, honest conversation after sex. You know the talk, right? You know what it's like. And she excused herself to go to the bathroom. And this is at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm going to ask her. Why is there a fucking asterisk under my name, right? So she's in the bathroom. I was like, hey, I couldn't help but notice that there was an asterisk by my name. And she laughed. Yeah, it was a scary laugh, right? And I was like, did the asterisk mean you were going to fuck me? And she went, kind of. And I was like, what did it mean? And she's like, well, it's kind of a play on words. And I'm like, yeah. And she was like, well, it means ass trick. I was like, what? And she walked out. She had a strap on that came down to her knee. She's like, it meant ass trick. I'm going to peg you now. So we ended up dating for a few months, and it was going good, it was going good. I thought it was going good, and then all of a sudden one day she's like, babe, you think your doctor would say it was safe for you to take Viagra? And I was like, my doctor doesn't think it's safe for me to take stairs. And she's like, can you ask, please? Because I was like, all right, I'll find out. So I go to see my doctor. And I was like, hey, my doctor was so proud of me, right? Because I was no longer pre-diabetic. I was no longer had high blood pressure. Everything, I was off all my meds. The doctor was like, great, Jesse, what can I do for you? And I'm like, funny you should ask. Do you think I can have some Viagra? And the doctor was like, whew. So the doctor went and got like a trial-sized packet of Viagra, right? And as the doctor was walking back to me, the doctor stopped sounding like a doctor and all of a sudden sounded like a friend who was about to give me a real powerful edible. Because she was like, look, I'm going to give you this, but don't take the whole thing. Take half. Wait, better yet, take a quarter of one. Wait 45. Guys, before I knew it, I was microdosing Viagra, and we were having ourselves a good old time. Oh, man. But then when we got down to the last one, I just smashed it up and snorted it, right? Because I grew up in Bakersfield, right? And so she thought she was dating Superman all of a sudden, but I ran out, right? And we went out. It was our 4-month anniversary. We went out. We went to Sizzler. Good time, right? No punches. I spent all the money, right? And afterwards, we went back to my place, and she's like, babe, are we going to fuck? And I was like, oh, no, I ate. No, I ate way too much. And she's like, oh, come on. And I was like, how about I just go down on you? She got excited. You know why, guys? I've been eating pussy since 1989. I've got 35 years experience. I've been doing it since it was hairy, right? Like girls used to get mad, you can't find the swim. I can't find it, babe. I'm just looking for the wet spot. Luckily, the late 90s, girls started coming back from Brazil. All the hair was gone. We found everything. We found the clitoris, the vulva. Some of them have curtains. Did you know that? Some of them have curtains. And so I was going down on her, you guys, and I was tired. I was super tired. Smoked a little bit. I fell asleep when I was going down on her. But here's the thing, you guys. Here's the thing. I've got sleep apnea. And the thing with my sleep apnea, like if I fall asleep in a comfortable position, like say on my side, I can sleep through the night, no problem, right? But like if I fall asleep in a weird position, like laying on my stomach, my head up like that, a leg over this, a leg here, and I didn't have my CPAP, right? I had a PPAP, right? I fell asleep, no CPAP, I had a PPAP, right? I started doing this thing where I was like, and I woke up, and I looked up, terrified, thinking she was going to be mad at me. She looked down at me, she's like, go back to sleep. You're not done, go back to sleep. And the next morning, she dumped me. Right? And I was back on the dating apps. I was filling out the dating apps again. And I hate like all the information you've got to put on the dating apps because, there's a lot of choices on there and you got to put. But the one thing that's always confused me on the dating apps is like they ask my race, right? Now my ethnicity, I know. Like I said, I'm first generation Mexican-American, Chicano, right? But my race is more like how you live your day-to-day life, like the customs and traditions you do. And I started thinking, I'm not that Mexican. The most Mexican thing about me is I have a Chihuahua, right? I don't even have diabetes, right? Maybe the second most Mexican thing about me, like if you're gonna cook in my house, make sure all the pots and pans are out of the stove, you know? And I started thinking about like my customs and my traditions and the things that I do on a daily basis, and I'm like, I'm not that Mexican. I'm fucking white. I'm fucking white. And I can't even say I'm like a white male. I'm a lot more like a white female. Listen, I fucking love Dutch Bros. Right? True crime podcasts? Fuck yes. Yes. Love them. Right? So I'm like, fucking white. I'm like a white girl, right? And sometimes I say like hella white girl shit, you know? Like I say crazy shit like, hey, come over, let's watch Barbie. You know? Say crazy shit like that. But you guys, it was on Super Bowl Sunday of last year that I actually heard myself say the whitest white girl thing I'd ever said in my life. It might be the most whitest white girl thing said in the history of time. Do you want to hear what I said? Yeah. It was Super Bowl Sunday. I was supposed to be at a Super Bowl party. I was late, because that's how we roll. My friend calls me, and she's like, Jesse, you're supposed to be at this party. Where the fuck are you? And I tried to buy myself time. I was like, I'm in line at Dutch Bros. You want anything? And she's like, yeah, I want to know when you're going to get here. And I was like, listen, I got to drive outside of town real quick. It's about 20 minutes, and then I'll be at the party right after that. And she's like, Jesse, what the fuck do you got to do today, Super Bowl Sunday? And I was like, that's when I said it. I said the whitest white girl thing I'd ever said in my life. I said, I've got to go pick up these crystals I bought off this girl on Instagram. But wait, because it actually got worse than that. Because she was like, Jesse, you dumb motherfucker. Why can't you just do that shit tomorrow? And I was like, because the full moon's tonight, bitch. Why don't you pull your Mercury out your retrograde? And that's when I realized, you guys, it's me. Hi. I'm the problem. It's me. Guys, I'm Jesse Rivera. I gotta go. Thank you so much.
One more time for Jesse Rivera.